Damn!
I'm laughing because that's a good intro to you kind of thing. Because obviously you came here as a presenter, but like as we were talking, I've heard music consultant, music manager, production assistant. So it's just like, how have you diversified yourself? Because first of all, who are you, and what else do you do?
Fam, do you know what it is? Yeah. So it's so weird because obviously I'm on your podcast and I'm so used to being the person asking the questions, and being on the other side of the microphone is bare confusing because I like being in control of the conversation and asking.
Not today, bro.
Not today. So it's weird because answering questions is kind of hard. I can never define what it is that I do, and I feel like it's something I need to be able to do ASAP because I have my finger in so many different pies. But I think for me, the best way to describe myself and the thing that I love most is that I'm a content producer. And by a content producer, that means I present content, I write scripts, I come up with different concepts that I pitch to TV shows, or I come up with YouTube concepts, or I just create content in any capacity. But at the same time, I worked at a label, I've done a bit of A&R-ing, I do a bit of music consultancy, I advise influencers sometimes, so I do consultancy for them. What else do I do? I don't know, man. I'm just a vibes man, really and truly. Basically, I get a microphone and I chat shit and I get paid to do it. Genuinely. So even in uni, for example, I remember one day, I can't remember what rave it was, but like DJ Max was DJing and he had a microphone there. I don't know what possessed me to do it.
Oh yeah, that's how you started hosting.
I just picked up the microphone. 1 2 1 2. What? What? The people them are loving it. Alright, cool. Yeah, official already done. Know what? It's not everyday Coventry. It's not everyday Leicester. Sometimes Rask. What? They started loving it. I said, cool. Yeah. And I didn't even intend to do that. So sometimes I just fall into stuff. But I guess deep down inside, I've always been like a student of media.
I think it's also to do with your personality. And how it mixes in with everything that you're doing.
That's just the way that I'm wired. So like from a very young age, I think from about the age of 5, like I just watched television religiously. So I was watching things like CBBC, so Kaching, the Mighty Trucker Stuff, Fern Cotton and Reggie. And I didn't even realise at the time, but this was kind of like an education into like the media world. And I was like, oh my God, like Reggie Yates is on television talking about music and talking about this game show. Even Dick and Dom in the Bungalow, CITV. And like at the time I was watching it as a consumer and being entertained by it. But then as the years went by, I was like, well, I could get a full-time job. But as I said earlier, I don't like being told what to do. My personality is where I can't be put in a box. So naturally, I just want to be the person that makes people smile. Because in this life, I mean, we're in the pandemic, like it goes without saying, there's so much depressing things from racism, George Floyd, people losing their jobs. People actually go to content as escapism. So like, that's the reason why YouTubers and TikTok people are so popular. Because like, when people watch Nella Rose's videos, for that 10-minute section of their life in that day, Nella Rose has made them laugh and made them feel good about themselves. And I don't think people actually realise the power in that. Because being able just to cheer someone up through your content is actually really, really powerful. That means that person will come back when you do another video. And then when you release a clothing line like Nella did, bruv, she made 5 bags in like an hour. Literally, she released like, I can't remember the name of it, Faces London, I think it is. In like, not even an hour, in like half an hour, it sold out. And it's like, she literally went from doing YouTube in her uni bedroom in the Midlands to now being in a position where she doesn't have to work and she can turn down stuff. So yeah, bringing it back to me, I guess more than anything, I'm just a fan of music and media, and I study it, and I see myself as somebody that wants to continually work in this industry, because at the end of the day, I can't really see myself doing anything else.
Yeah. Is there anyone you look up to that will like you follow like bare just to like idea or content ideas from?
I'd say in the UK definitely Reggie Yates, simply because that was the first time like I saw a black man that actually did what I wanted to do. Because don't get me wrong, as I said, this is England, innit? But like, you're gonna get Dermot O'Leary, you're gonna get Davina McCall, you're gonna get white presenters, but to see a black man, and like, not to say there's a certain palatable black man, but Reggie Yates is quite eloquent, well spoken. I like the way he dresses, I like the way he carries himself, and like for me, I like to see myself as that person as well. And then in America, or just in general, somebody I really, really rate, even though his comedy is a bit sometimes, Kevin Hart, man.
He's hilarious.
I love Kevin Hart so much.
You don't think he's funny?
I think he's funny when he's not doing stand-up. I watched his new special, and I was like, this is cheeks, fam. It's boring, but then
I don't think that.
Okay, it's not bad.
I don't think that.
But the reason why I love Kevin Hart, because I read his book recently and I listened to like his podcast and I consume every piece of content that Kevin Hart does. I like his work ethic. I like the fact that he sees himself as a business, as a brand, and anything that he attaches himself to has to be at a certain level of quality. So obviously, like, everyone knows that he started off doing stand-up, but now he's got a production company, and then he'll executive produce a TV show, but then he'll not host Oscars, but get the opportunity to host Oscars, and he does acting, and then he's like the first comedian to ever get a Nike deal. So like, fam, Nike obviously do stuff with like Travis Scott now, and obviously Air Jordan. Like, they are used to doing athletes and artists. But Kevin Hart was the first person that's not an artist or a sports person to get a Nike deal, and like, his business moves are just very, very strategic, and I really, really like the way that he moves. And I think for me, I take inspiration from that, because I never want to pigeonhole myself as just a presenter.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very good at being a presenter. I'm very good at being on screen, but like, my mind is very analytical, and I feel like, especially in my industry, we need to have more people in positions where they can commission work. So like, being a commissioner, there's basically somebody that can give you the yes as to whether your show goes on Channel 4, whether your show goes on Netflix. But 9 times out of 10, they're probably middle-class white people that went to Eton or went to Cambridge who don't, once again, understand your life. And I feel like we need more and more people that look like you and I in those positions, because then if somebody was to come to me and I was to commission their work, it makes it a lot easier for them to get exposure. It makes it a lot easier for them to get onto BBC One, because as I say, TV's dead. When you look on TV, other than Mo Gilligan, who else is really black on TV? And other than that, Mo Gilligan only really came on TV in the last 2 years or so. The Rap Game UK maybe, but when you look at the content of it, once again, it's rap. It's, you know, and don't get me wrong, I love rap in it, but like, sometimes I just want to be a black person that likes
normal TV,
just normal everyday stuff. I don't want to be the token black man that's Top Boy, Shanker Man Shanker, or flipping everyday typical black content. Like, I'm really into politics and current affairs, but I look on Channel 4, I don't see any like political correspondents that are black, and it's like, we need to change the narrative about how we interact with these companies, because end of the day, we're going to be having the same conversations. It's going to be like, yeah, you're good enough to be talent. I'll use football, for example. Yeah, look how many black ballers are in the Premier League. But then you look at the managers, none of them are there. You look at the hierarchy, none of them are there. And so we're good enough to be entertainers, but we're not good enough to be behind the scenes making the decisions. And it's like, there needs to be a change in that, because end of the day, there's always going to be one token black person on TV. So Mo Gilligan's the guy now. In a couple of years, it'll be someone else. In a couple of years, it'll be someone else. And it's like, nah, it should be this person. It should be that person. People should just be awarded shows because they're good at what they do, not because they're the token black person or the in person at the time. So yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in our industry, but I love it, man. Because
go on.
No, I just love it, man.
Yeah, no, to be fair, you said a lot about it, fam. You can see the passion in that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's actually something. But you know, on the industry as well, there's something that I can't remember what I was watching, and I think it was all about the music industry. And people said before, like, it's a rigged game. Like, the game is rigged. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So from a host perspective, would you say that the game is rigged? Like,
hosting, what do you mean?
So let's say hosting, like you said, a content producer. So let's say, for example, someone sees your content now and it's like, yo, I actually want to be similar to, I want to create content, I want to host the events, I want to, do you get what I'm trying to say? But then whenever they like apply for certain applications, whenever they apply for certain roles, they're not seeing it, but they keep seeing the same old faces in the same position. And it's like, or they'll see somebody who's somebody who's got the place, but they know they're more talented than that person. That's
the media industry, not even just the media industry in general, but it's like, once again, going back to people in positions of power, like Tommy over there, his dad works for News UK, so if he wants an internship, his dad could, you know, nudge his friend and be like, oh, like, my son's looking for an internship, could you give an opportunity? And he's bypassed the entire recruitment process, and now Tommy's just got a job at the Daily Mail, and the next thing you know, he's worked his way up the ranks, and now he's a senior editor. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
mad, isn't it?
And it's so weird, because I feel like there's a complex with us black people, and I choose my words very carefully here, because like, I want to be in a position where I can give my children and their friends opportunities. Like, we all want to make like money where we don't have to go through the same channels.
Generational wealth.
Do you know what I'm saying? But like, people always have people they turn their nose up at nepotism, and I understand why, but at the same time, it's like the only reason why we turn our nose up at it is like, how did you acquire your wealth? If you acquired your wealth through some dodgy dealings or at the expense of black people or other minorities, then I have a problem with it. But when I look at someone like Kevin Hart, who can probably send his daughter to the best private school in America, it's because he has worked tirelessly to get himself in a position where he has that generational wealth, and that's obviously the person that I want to be. So like, so what was you asking if somebody comes to me and asks me?
No, I was going to say, because actually, like, from your experience, would you say the game is rigged kind of thing in terms of the industry game, the hosting game?
I wouldn't say it's rigged. I think end of the day, you have to build yourself an audience. And I think that's what I say to myself, and I say to other people, because realistically, in the grand scheme of things, like, I think I'm very good at presenting. I know I'm good at presenting. But my thing is this, with all due respect, why would somebody come to me with my however many followers on Twitter, however many subscribers on YouTube, when they can go to Young Philly, who has 800,000, when they can go to Chunks, who's got 1 million,
but
and they've put in. That's the thing. They've put in work over a period of time, and I think a lot of people think because they're talented, they think their talent is enough. And it's like, cool. I know I'm good at what I do, but I've had conversations with myself where I'm like, I'm really inconsistent. I'm really lazy. I'm in my head too much, and I don't put out work that warrants me to be in the position that I want to be in. And I'm very self-aware and very self-analytical. So I think a lot of people need to kind of step out of their own emotion, look back and be like, why would the BBC employ you when they can employ Maya Jama, who's got bare followers and all these? Like, it doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? So I think consistency and finding your niche are the most important things ever. And it's like, if your first video doesn't bang, don't get disheartened. You're going to have to do that for like 2-3 years before you see a return. But like, a lot of people think if they do one thing short term, that's why even the other day on Twitter there was a woman who was talking about her painting.
That's what I'm gonna bring that up.
And like, in my group chat, we had a massive back and forth about it. And like, I won't say the names of people in my group chat, but they were like, yeah, but black people don't support this, that, and that. I'm like, big man, I'm gonna be real with you, 98%, I can't remember what the statistic is, 98% of all businesses or startups fail in their first 3 years. It's got nothing to do with your skin color. It's just the way the market is. And if I'm an investor, and you're coming to me with a product or with an idea, I'm thinking, okay, cool. If I put X amount of money in, am I going to make a return on investment? I don't care whether you're black. I don't care about this. I care about the money. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's what she was trying to go into. I think she was just trying to say is, I don't want to say the black community. She shouldn't have blamed it on the black community. That was the issue. But I feel like she was trying to say is like the black community give out false promises, because it's like she got 1 million retweets or views on that particular product, and she had no sales. And then she had one sale. And then she also said how people would say they're gonna buy from her, stuff like that, which you shouldn't have believed, because you shouldn't rely on people at the end of the day. That's her own
personal problem,
which is true.
And I know it sounds really harsh.
It's harsh, but I feel like I got her delivery was wrong, because I got her point, and what she was trying to say is like, you guys support so much online, but you don't actually physically like support.
But you know what? And I'm gonna say this. This is exactly what I said about earlier about the passive, the spreading awareness. Retweets don't, in my opinion, don't mean shit kind of thing. Because earlier, remember you were like, retweets do something.
Yeah,
like,
it does help though. So I'm saying retweets does help, because all the retweets that she got gave her exposure. But the only thing is, people didn't buy from her. But then again, the people that she's marketing to, some of us live at home. The paintings that you have, where are they gonna put it? So it comes to a lot of things. You get what I'm saying? 110%. Based on that.
And for me, so like, really oddly, out of the blue. So when I was freelancing earlier this year, I started doing stuff on Shopify just because I was watching people like selling. Do you guys know about dropshipping?
Yeah.
So like, you will get a product from China and it'll get sent, and like, bruv, people are buying Lambos and stuff from this, and like, I would just go.
I told you about this from time ago.
Yeah,
I remember talking about this from time ago.
Lambos.
Yeah,
no, listen. There's this one guy and like, I've kind of clocked the certain industries that pop. So like, pet stuff, baby stuff, and products that basically help your everyday life. And then when I was like doing my nerdy stuff and doing the research, I was looking at things like, okay, cool, there's things called landing pages and conversion rates, and do you have the right images? Is your website easy to access? Is the checkout process long? Does it take forever to load? people have short concentration spans, and because you got 1 million impressions, which aren't 1 million, like when I go on Twitter and I scroll through and I see a tweet, that's an impression. That doesn't mean I've actively engaged with your tweet. And it's like, did she just removed herself from the situation? She didn't think, oh, maybe my website's not good enough, maybe it's not converting. And when you actually break it down, and you look at business, everyone that clicks on the website is not going to buy anyway. And I'll bring it back to MDV because I read a lot of his stuff. He has like a 10% conversion rate. So of all the people that click on his website, only 10% of the people actually go to the checkout. Then only 1% of those people actually make a purchase.
Mad.
So it's like, most people think because I've got a website, if you go on it, you're going to buy the product. And that's why I say you have to remove emotion from business, because I get it. When you're a painter, you're emotionally invested. You put your heart, your soul into it. I fully get it. But at the same time, you have to remove yourself and look at it from a business standpoint. I went on a website. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was very, very basic. It looked, and I'm not trying to mock her in any way, shape or form. But once again, if I was consulting for her, I'd be like, maybe go and speak to a website designer and get a more engaging website, grab people's attention. Remember how I always talked to you about Facebook advertising? She literally just pigeoned all her hopes on Twitter, and it's like, my darling, you're setting yourself up to fail, because you could do paid advertising on YouTube, Facebook ads, Google ads, you could do, giveaways. But because she said Twitter is my only way that I'm going to promote this one tweet as well, come on, like, you can't just blame black people for that. And at the end of the day, it's my money. As a consumer, I can put my money into whatever the hell I want.
Do you know what? I'm gonna be real though. Like, there is some truth in what she's saying, and why I say that is because we always look at the Jewish community. We always look at the Asian community. Their unity is mad. Like, if there was a Jewish artist, they will buy for him. They will always support her, kind of thing. So I definitely see her point. But I think the issue at hand for me was the entitlement. And like you said, it's my money, it's my time, it's my resources. I don't have to buy shit from you. 100%. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, and I said, listen, like, a DM is not an invoice. A DM is not a PO. And I think it's not her fault, but going back to what you said earlier about the lack of education within our community, like, unfortunately, she didn't have people around her to say to her, yo, you're getting 1 million views. I hear that, but have they bought anything? Have they actually got invoice? Have they signed anything out to you? Because she said that she invested loads of money into it. A good example is, like, in different organizations, they've got different ways of delivering items. So one is just on time. So, like, you give an order, that's when I go pay for the production of that order and send it out to you.
That's what you're drop shipping. That's drop shipping.
Yeah, but so that's just on time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so do you get what I'm trying to say? So there's different kinds of there's people who buy large, like what she done, invest into lots of stock, put in a warehouse. When people order it, it sends out straight away. There's different ways to deliver your product. One of the ways she should have done, rather than invest in all of it off speculation, it's like stock. Like, she got 1 million views, she anticipated a lot of investments, made a big investment, didn't pay off. And I think it's less than business. Like, she needs to. Yeah.
I think she should have rode the wave as well. I think she shouldn't have just relied on that one tweet. She should have do marketing stuff regarding that tweet. Don't you think?
Do you know my big problem with this is, don't piss off the audience that you want to buy from you as well.
Do you know, it's not even that. I'm going to go back to what you said about the Jewish community. You said if it was a Jewish painter, they would have bought it because it's the Jewish community. Most likely. But my thing is that she's saying she was marketing to the black community. I don't even think the way she marketed it to us is even making sense anyways, in my opinion.
Do you know what?
Why?
Go on.
Like, it wasn't... I don't think it was marketed for black people the way it came, the video and etc. came out. So I was just like it wasn't for us. Anyway.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think you don't like the painting.
No,
it's not that. Do
you know what? One thing I'll say though, I add this to always point, like, from this example, you're saying that there isn't no simplicity in her website, because I got exactly what you said. Like, it made it very clear what it was for me. But I like to read and I like to do my research, kind of thing. Whereas if you're somebody who likes simple, short attention span, to you that website is rubbish, kind of thing. And I'll be real, for me, that was quite obvious. If I had the peas, I'd buy that painting. I can't lie to you. And I'll give it to my sister. Or I'll give it, because for me, that's empowering. You get what I'm saying? Seeing a black woman like that, with the flowers and that, I thought it was lit. I'm not going to lie to you. So,
what about the sweetie one? What about the
Stop
sweetie
it.
one?
The sweetie one. What?
Listen.
You just
I didn't see that one. What was that one?
There's no need.
No, let's talk about it. The sweetie one. She drew sweetie, which was the painting of what the person who she drew. The person who she drew was really good. The person she drew was really pretty, but it just didn't look like Sweetie.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Now Sopranos. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No.
Yeah, is that not okay to say?
Painted.
Oh, sorry, the person she painted. No, I think there's still, because I said it's still, yeah. But the person she painted, yeah, was really nice, really good. Like, she's got talent, but I just feel like that picture, that portrait or painting should have been called, named Sweetie. That was all.
I don't know, I ain't see that, but I just think in general, like, I'll never like knock someone's hustle or like laughing at work.
Definitely,
like,
definitely.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because I can't paint, I know how painting is. But I think for me, like, because I do businesses as well for me and my family and XYZ. So I just didn't like the entitlement. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like 100% you're frustrated, 100% I can feel that, like, you've invested, you had your hopes. So it's emotionally it's draining. I totally get it. There's times when I've had like clients who are gonna have a sell, then last minute they're ghosting, man, and I'm like, blood, this like I could have get X amount of money, so I get it, but I'll never say like you lot failed me or like I don't know what she said, but it's the entitlement of it. Like I owe you shit. Full stop. And
it even goes back to when we mean it, because when we saw the thing, I DM'd him straight away, because we actually like we like talking about things like this. So I DM'd him, and then I was like, even in the events, I had people come to saying, they're gonna buy a ticket, they never bought it. Then I'm just like,
see ACS,
thank you, exactly. Even that
ACS, Jesus Christ, oh my goodness, the amount of people that would say, yeah, we're gonna turn up to this event. The event happens, and look out.
Or they start asking for free tickets.
Listen, already like your guy, like bust me in it, president in it. I don't want to go to.
But do you think that's common in the black community, or do you think that's common in any community?
I think that's common in any community.
It's any community. It's like mates rates in it. Like if
come on.
I don't know, you know, because I feel I've been around, like, especially in the Caucasian community. Like when I've been around Caucasians, it's like I'll offer them something. They'll be like, okay, how much I owe you? And I'm like, nah, bro, it's free. I'm giving this to you for free. Like in their community, sharing like that isn't common. Like unless they're gonna buy it for you or buy it for you. Like even like doing rounds, like they don't do this stuff where like they just like I've noticed it, like I can buy a couple beers. Like times I bought bare beers, or ciders, 100 beer with the man them watching UFC, and I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. No one's touching it. They've got their own, and I'm like, raw. But this is my broski's thing was done at it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I do feel like it is a community thing, because like even in the community, like another good example is like where I work, they partner with different organizations. And these organizations are their friends, but they're still saying, "My boy, but I'm just gonna pay you the right amount." Whereas in the black community, it'd be like, "But you're my sister. I know I babysit your children. I can't do it for free." So yeah. That's my opinion.
I think it depends. I think it depends on the person itself, because I think the black community, they are quite like giving. They do support.
Yeah, I agree.
Because with my business, my friends have been supportive and been buying my lip glosses and stuff like that, which has helped me.
Which what they should do though.
Well, which what they should do, innit? Obviously, I mean they should, but if they don't, I won't chase you, because exactly what you said. You have to separate yourself from your business, which I've really had to learn to do, because I've got certain people that I know and everything. Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy from you, I'm buying for you. I don't see your invoice. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like people can be supportive and can be there for you, but I don't know. I think they can be like the Caucasian community.
I was supported, by the way. I was talking about like freebies, like
freebies.
Like in the black community, it's more like to get more freebies, be asked for. Like you said, ACS stuff had the same thing as president as well. But whereas in the white community, they'll buy your tickets and they may not even come, bruv.
We need to talk about money more in our like community when it comes to like investing in people's, whether it's their business or their talent, because end of the day, I'm assuming you want to do your business as your full-time job. You want to make sure that's the thing that, you know, is one of your main sources of income. Yeah.
I don't know, you know. I like being...
I mean, that's
I don't know.
One of many incomes.
Because I want to be a solicitor.
Yeah.
That part, but then I do enjoy the whole beauty side stuff and everything.
But that's the good thing, because you can have strings to your bow, so you can do law and you can do beauty at the same time. And it's like,
that's why
you don't have to pick one.
Solar Patron. Because she does the whole legal, she's a solicitor and she does her beauty content and she's a content creator.
Sick.
So that's why I like how she is. That's,
And you know what I realized as well, people see what you do and then they put their own valuation on it, and then they think, okay, cool, that's how much I think you deserve. So there've been times where like I've been booked to something and I'll tell them my price and they'll be like, but I charged my man over here like less. I mean, I'm trying to not say prices, but I charged somebody over here who did a similar job for way less than that. And I'm like, well, go and email him, because end of the day, I've got all these years of experience, and not even just experience. I rate my thing and I believe in what I do. And when I come to a show or I come to your booking, I'm going to give whatever energy that it is that I'm going to bring. this is my price. And don't get me wrong, I'm open to negotiating, but don't take the piss.
Yeah.
Don't just like undercut me just because, with all due respect, yeah, if I was at the BBC, right, you wouldn't do that to them. So it's like you see me as somebody that's talented, but you don't really rate me enough to pay what I'm charging you. And it's like, sometimes it can be difficult conversations because it's with people that you may not necessarily are super close with, but you kind of know them like that. But it's just like, that's why I keep saying business is business. And sometimes you just have to be like, look, best business decision if we just walk away from this.
I want to ask quickly, yeah. You know,
a very delicate voice.
Me? Oh, thank you. Sorry. But yeah, I want to know more about, you know, what you're doing, yeah? Things on No Signal. How is that going? Like, cause
man.
do that.
It's weird because they hit me up do you know what? I actually think I know why they hit me up. So basically, do you know there was that week where it was basically Nigeria versus Jamaica, World War III in it? And then first of all, it was on a Friday. It was Popcorn versus Burna Boy. And then we all know about the Wizkid Vibes Cartel one. And then, because I actually know the people at No Signal, but I've just known them through like just networking and socials. And like some of the other presenters, so Scully and Henry, I knew them from when I was on Represent. So I kind of knew them, but I was never really involved. But then they were asking people to send voice notes in. I don't even know why. I think I must have just been waived or something. I was like, let me just send a voice note. And then I sent a voice note, but like, with all due respect, there's a voice note of a presenter and there's just a voice note of somebody who's just a fan of music. And I think the way that I said my voice note was like, he knows what he's talking about. And then literally a week later, I didn't even think anything of it. I was just like, I just wanted to send a voice note in it just for bands. A week later, I get a call from somebody in the team. I was like, all right, you just jump on a Zoom call with me. I want to just talk about potentially getting you on No Signal. Boom, bam, damn. And then I'd never met Bisola before as well, the girl I do the show with. Once again, she's on Represent as well. And like, we've got hella mutuals. I was like, like, we're thinking about putting you together on a show, lunchtime show, this, that, and other. Would you be interested? And I was like, you know what? Might as well. Obviously, like, No Signal was a very big deal at the time. And then we just started doing a lunchtime show. And then literally labels, management, like PR companies started hitting us up. Can you interview this person? So the first person we interviewed was Ivor Orindo. Then we interviewed Simba. I'm an Ivor Orindo stan, by the way. Yeah. Like, I really rock with her whole energy. I think she's wavy in it. And I was like, right, like, we're just getting people just coming to us. Because usually I'm so used to, like, sending out emails and not getting responses or just, like, wishful thinking, let me try to interview, let me send Davido's management in. That nigga ain't going to respond to me. But then, because No Signal had that barrier, that platform where everybody wanted to be on it, like, we were just getting, like, we had to turn so many people down because we were just, like, we physically don't have the time in the week to do all these interviews. And then gradually, it just started getting bigger and bigger. And then, boom, the email for Davido just came in one day and we were like, this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. But I think with me, like, any piece of content that I do, I want to make sure it's different from anyone else's. So I watched tons of Davido interviews and everyone's just asking the same bloody questions. I was like, cool. When we interview Davido, I'm going to ask him the questions that really matter. Because obviously we all know about that Tim Westwood session.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's asked him about that.
No, but I searched long and far on the internet for anybody that asked him that question. And I was thinking, is he going to feel a type of way? Or like, we didn't run it past his management because sometimes managers will be like, you can't speak about this, you can't speak about that, don't bring that up. But we didn't have that conversation with his manager. I was like, yeah, just run through, do whatever. And then literally, that moment got clipped so many times. Like, that for me was like the most, that went not viral, but it was like, oh, listen, if I get the DMs from Nigerian fucking Twitter and Nigerian, they were in my DMs. What? Oh, Davido, we love the interview. I'm thinking,
Nigerians are proper supportive.
You see Wizkid FC, yeah? Wow, them man are stands. But yeah, like, that just did bare numbers, and as a result, like, even though it's weird because I took some time off radio, so taking a bit of a backstory, I was working at Sony Music, like, from just when we came out of uni, so 2017 to 2018, I was on a 12-month contract, and after that, I was out of work, and fam, I felt so burnt out. Like, I genuinely felt like physically, mentally, emotionally, I didn't want to do anything media related. And I don't want to say I was depressed, but I was very much down in the dumps because I was like, as I said, I started doing this stuff when I was like 12. So when I was 12 in Luton, I knocked on a radio station. I told you I'm a nerd. I was like, I want to present. I don't know nothing about radio. And I literally just kept hassling them. And I was like, all right, cool. Just be the office person, answer emails. And after a while, there's one person that didn't turn up for their show, and I was like, let me do it. And I was like, this guy's annoying. Just half an hour, do whatever. I did my thing, and they were like, rah, shit, you're half all right. Then I moved back to London, and I joined Represent. Then I did stuff at 1Extra. Then I went to uni. I did ACS. I started hosting. Then I started doing the YouTube stuff with Nella and all of that. Then I got a job at Sony Music, and I never had a moment to actually fully just sit down and deep like, raw.
You know the YouTube stuff. Would you do that again?
I hate those.
The one with Nella that you done, I watched. It was really good.
I'm not even gonna cap, and this is not even me trying to brag or anything. I think that's the best piece of content on YouTube. Genuinely, I haven't seen an interview as good as that, and I say that simply because, like, as I say, I'm a nerd and I study all other people, and like as I said with the Davido stuff, nobody ever asked him about that specific thing. So when I interviewed Nella at the time, she was still up and popping, but like I don't know Nella like that, by the way. We literally met on that day, and I haven't seen her since. I saw her once at an event, but like we're not friends. But I was like, I want to make a point of difference with every piece of content that I do. And like, obviously it's quite a sensitive issue with her talking about her mum. Yeah. But once again, she hadn't done any other interviews, and everyone knew kind of like, like her mum had passed away at the time. And like, and I was thinking, is it right for me to talk about this when she doesn't even know me? But I wanted to make sure that I created an environment where she was comfortable. So even the first thing I did was I handed her Supermalt. She was like, why are you handing me Supermalt? I was like, I saw you tweet like 3 months ago, like you hate Supermalt. So that was just a way of warming her up. The second thing I handed her was Smirnoff, a bottle of vodka. And she was like, rah, why have you... And in her videos, she's always backing shots of Smirnoff. Always drinking. If you go on her story, she's always drinking. And this goes back to me being like really attentive and paying attention. Bearing in mind, she never knew who I was. But the first thing I'm doing, I'm showing her in black and white terms that I've actually paid attention to what you do. And without her realising, she just felt very, very comfortable. And obviously, alcohol kind of loosens you up a bit. But like, with me doing that, it was like, right, I can trust this guy because no one else has gone to the extremes of watching my videos and buying the specific drink. I could have got Rare Nephews, I could have got Cavossier, but I got specific Smirnoff because I remember she went to, what was that rave, that party island in 2017 in Portugal?
Portugal invasion.
I was watching her vlog.
She went to Portugal?
Yeah, I was watching her vlog.
She did. I went to that.
And then she was just back in bare Smirnoff. So like every time I do stuff, even with the new thing, I made sure I put them in certain environments so they can be comfortable. And what I realized was, at the time, nobody's coming to the YouTube channel for me. They're coming to watch Nella. They're coming to watch Chucky Online. They're coming to watch Aaliyah Maria B. But by default, they're going to be like, oh, this sorry guy's quite good at asking questions. Let me go watch his other stuff. So my method was to bring big personalities to my channel and then keep that audience by continually giving them that content. But I think going back to what I was saying, I got very inconsistent. And at the same time, it was like I'm emailing so many different people and it's like they're not getting back to me. I'm like, crap, I haven't got a video to put out today. So I think now I am going to go back to YouTube. Literally, I hate being that person that's like, oh yeah, it's coming soon. I'd rather just drop it and just do it because a lot of people say, oh, we're working on this, working on that. I'm very much an actions person. But now I'm focusing more on myself as a talent, as a personality, because there's only so much I can piggyback off somebody else's name. And I'm going to be real. I know I did it and it was very strategic, which is why I literally went boom. Like my first video got like 80,000 views. I've never seen anyone else do that on YouTube. But it's because I knew that if I get Nella on my channel, if I get Nunu on my channel, people are going to watch because they like these individuals. And by default, they will discover me. But yeah, so after I left Sony, I just had a massive, massive burnout. I just felt like, I'd done so much. I didn't really know what was next. And I think I just took 6 months of just not doing anything.
Do you mind
deleted my socials. Yeah, go on.
I was going to ask, do you mind me asking? Did you pay to get them on?
Did I pay?
To get them on?
At the time, no. But if I was to message a lot of those people now, there's a fee that... And there were...
you didn't pay Nella's.
So at the time, it was January 2018. And I remember specifically because I asked her about how many... She had 100,000 subscribers at the time. And I don't know if she had management at the time. So like,
it was an opportunity, like she was...
So what I was doing is I was getting people that I knew I could bypass their agent, bypass their manager.
Up and coming in this.
Yeah. And I was like, because Nella was building her name, it made sense to get her on. But now if I was to message, I'm trying to think who's a big... If I was to message Maya Jama, it's impossible for me to get her on my platform. Unless I know her on a personal level, because the email will get sent to her agent. Her agent's like, cool, we can get her on it, but just to know that she's charging X amount. Do you have that money?
Yeah.
And it's like, so my whole thing was, okay, I'm gonna get. End of the day, at the same time, why would Maya Jama come on my podcast?
Yeah, what do you have?
And that goes back to being that self-aware individual. So it's like, I need to build myself up to a stage where everyone knows who I am. Maya Jama's gonna not want to turn down coming on my podcast or coming on my content. But I think now I'm in a place where I just want to be my own personality. I want to be myself and not have to piggyback off other people. But the content I'm going to do is going to get me cancelled in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
110%, because my humour is incredibly dark.
Very.
I say some really, really, really bad stuff. Like, there's a video that I'm going to shoot next week and I've got Prince Andrew jokes locked and loaded. I've got Jeffrey Epstein jokes locked and loaded.
Man, I don't think I'll get cancelled. I think that's the reality of it. Like, people need to hear about that.
Nah, not even that. It's just the way that I'm going to deliver it. And once again, I don't want to say too much.
Look forward to it though.
Because if I don't do it and it doesn't bang, it's like, oh, you were chatting. But it's like,
he was giving us
do you know what like the two things that come to my mind when I ask you talks about is, one of them is like, do you have that fear of like jack of all trades, master of none? Because it's like you said, like your hands so many pies. I'm not saying that's you, by the way. I'm just saying in general, like it's gonna be very hard to like become specialized in one craft if you're doing so much. And not only that, you're only one man. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you gave the example of burnout. That happens to a lot of us. Like, we're trying to do so much. And we're always get to like 10%. Before we know 100% all throughout, we're burnt out. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, do you have that fear? And if you do, how do you manage that?
That was my problem. So when I left Sony, because I was literally doing so much from A&R and consultancy, presenting, content producing, writing, like at the time, not because I was young, but because I was so happy to be in the position. How old am I now?
No, back then
I was like 22, 23.
Okay.
And deep it, like that's my first job out of uni. You're telling me I'm working at Sony Music, and then even then I got moved to RCA to work in the A&R team. I'm like, what?
That's
I'm
really
and you know that I love music. Like, I love music. I'm gassed. So I never really had a chance to like fully just actually deep the situation. I'm just like, cool, what's next? So I think having that 6-month off period just showed me that my main thing and the thing that I love more than anything else is conversation and being a presenter. Like, that will always be my bread and butter. Yes, I can do all these other things on the side, but the thing that I love and I'm most like passionate about is being a presenter. And I think I can still consult and do the other things, but if a presenting opportunity presents itself, I'm taking that before I take the other thing. Because as you said, I don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Like, I want to be seen, and God willing, I will be in the next 10, 15 years as one of like the best to ever do it. Do you know what I mean? And I believe if I put in the work, I can definitely get to that stage. So it goes back to like, yeah, you can have your finger in many different pies, but end of the day, focus.
Have a core in it.
Have a core nucleus and the thing that makes you like.
I
I get up in the morning, like literally as soon as I'm done here, I'm going home and I'm going to script write because I'm excited to do it. Like, it doesn't feel like a chore. Whereas sometimes I do other things, I'm like, okay, cool, like, I'm gonna get paid for this, so I can do it. But it's like, you have to do the thing that gets you up in the morning, lights that fire in your belly, and it doesn't feel like what I'm getting paid to talk in front of a camera. I'm getting paid to talk to Davido. I'm like, what?
Do you know what? On that,
do you know? And it's in regards to your questions of the jack of all trades. You know, when you say you got your hands on different all pies and etc. etc. So with me, for example, I slightly want to be the same person, as in I want to do different things when I'm older, etc. etc. But I know, as you said, you can get burnt out very easily. My thing is that if you have different people with you in those different pies, does it not help out in a sense as well?
100%. So like now, going back to me being a content creator, in the next 2 years, I want to set up my own production company. And I realized, like, end of the day, you can't do it all by yourself. And I think I'm too much of a perfectionist. I'm in my own head way too much. And like, sometimes, I wouldn't say I'm a control freak, but because I like things to be a certain way, I can almost like starve the idea. And sometimes I need a second opinion, or I need other people around me that can contribute as well. And I feel like building like an echo chamber, is it echo chamber or echo system around you, and like you can bring other people in. So like, for example, my younger sister's into fashion. So at some point in the next couple of years or in the next 6 months, I want to start looping her into like fashion projects. And my other sister wants to get into content stuff as well. So when I start filming, I'm like, all right, come to the shoot with me. And then naturally she can start gaining experience, and then maybe she could come and work for my production company. And then there are certain things that I won't even have to do anymore. So she might be, you know, the main go-to person for my bookings. And it's like, that's eliminated stress for me, but it's also created an opportunity for somebody else. And it doesn't even have to be my sister, but it's like, with my talent, I'm able to help X, Y, Z and branch out. Do you know what I mean? But I think a lot of the time, everybody wants to be that lone person, self-made. And I'm like, that's washed, man.
Do you know what? Do you know what? On that note, one thing I will say, though, I think it's important, if you're going to work with somebody, make sure the people you're working with, that is their core passion. So, for example, like let's say you're doing your content creation. I do a podcast, for example. Yes, we could work together, but my main bag is business stuff, and engineering. So yes, I could work with you, but I don't think it'll be as beneficial if you work with somebody whose their main bag is content creation, because it's like, going back to, I can think of some examples. It's like, you need to work with people where you want them to give you peace. You don't want them to come and dump loads on your work as well. Otherwise, what's the point of working with them, kind of thing? You want somebody where it's like, you can be like, okay, cool, I want to do the podcast, but I also want to do my 9 to 5. So when I do my 9 to 5, my brother here, he loves content. That's his bag. So if I give him that task, he's gonna come at me like, Sam, it's done, it's this. You don't want to be like, yo, Sam, so that thing you were saying last time, like, you know, like, you don't want that constant. Otherwise, you might as well gonna get stressed. That's my opinion on it.
I think it's all about trust, isn't it? Making sure the people you're employing, you have trust in them, and then they'll deliver what you want. Yeah, and then what they do. For you.
There's that, but then even with the different pies, each pie you got. Like, so let's say, for example, there's an events pie, there's a sports pie, a sports agency pie, for example, me. The guy who I'm going to do sports agency work with, I know he's passionate, he's into sports.
Exactly, so that makes sense.
The guy who's in event, who wants to do events, I know he wants the events to pop, etc., etc. So it depends, like, the guy you got for each part pieing, essentially, like, you know what he's...
They need to be patterning their own thing. But you know what I want to ask you of it, like, you know, just to bring back to you, and it's done for me, I let you talk after this. It's like, what is your most memorable experience in your industry, like in your career, right now?
Just all my proudest achievement or memorable experience?
I think memorable experience. I think that's a better question for me.
That one's gonna...
Proudest achievements?
Yeah.
Do proudest achievements as well.
Deep one.
Before you get an interview, you don't know you come to my show.
Do you know what it is, yeah? It's so weird because obviously whenever you go to an interview, you sometimes anticipate maybe a question like that. But when you actually ask it, you're like, now I have to really think. Proudest achievement.
And memorable experience.
Do you know what it is? And maybe this is a blessing because I've had so many great moments. I can't even pick one. Okay, there was one time, the Roundhouse in 2017. I hosted a show in front of about like 3,000 people on stage with like Ramel London. It was put together by Cyan Anderson. It was called Floor 6. And I remember being stood on that stage in front of about 3,000 people. Roundhouse is a big venue. It's like one of the like iconic venues in the UK. And I stood there for a moment. I was talking, but I physically was there, but mentally, I was back in uni at the first rave that I ever hosted. And I was like, rah. So if I never picked up that microphone at that rave with DJ Max, I wouldn't be on this stage right now. And I'd gone from saying 1, 2, 1, 2 to a house party of 50 people to being on stage at the Roundhouse. And I'm like inviting gigs on stage and Alakai Harley and all these people. And I'm thinking, rah. So like, this is just testament to not just hard work, but consistency. And I was like, that moment for me was like, oh my God, this is actually possible. Like if I keep working, I can keep going, I can get a TV show, I can do the O2 next, I can do whatever. So I think that was a memorable moment because it in that second it dawned on me that, wow, I can actually do this full time and make it my actual career. And I think the proudest moment was you know what? I don't think I have one. I think I'm proud to have been able to just continue in this
journey, you know?
And I know it's one of them boring cliche answers. Like I hate being that person, but I'm proud that I'm shaking, like I'm rubbing shoulders with the elites. Like I remember I was at Sony Music and I'm going to DJ Semtek's office to talk to him about music, and I'm sat in meetings about Justin Timberlake, and I'm like, fam, I started posting Music Mondays on Snapchat, like just because I love music. And like now I'm bringing in, and I'm not going to say the artist because obviously like just label, but I'm bringing in big artists to have meetings with the president of RCA. And I'm like, I'm 22 years old. How does this make sense? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's one of my most proudest moments, just to actually be respected for my opinion. So yeah.
On that note, I think it's time to go.
So my socials, right? Official Ore on Twitter, Oregram with 2 E's. I'm so annoyed. There's a white woman called Oregram with 1 E, but she never posted nothing as well. It's jarring. I should, you know.
Report it.
Report it.
Report it so you can get.
Say swear.
Yeah.
I'm doing that after we're done here. Still.
No, report it.
Oregram on Instagram with 2 E's and official Ore on YouTube. I'm not gonna lie, subscribe to the YouTube because we're to Central C, we loading fam.
Okay,
Yeah. But we out here, man. Book me because I'm fucking sick at presenting. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's funny. I'll give you that.
Alright, cool. To end on that note, it's your boy Hobz.
It's your boy Sam.
It's your girl Ebs.
And Ori.
It's your boy Ore as well.
Yeah.
Come
Yes.
on.
Come on.
We're done.
Thank you.